Welcome to FlossTube number 2. So, if this is your first time here, my name is Christine. I'm going to go ahead and pronounce my last name because a couple people have been shouting me out, and it, you know, it's always an issue. My last name is spelled D-O-I-R-O-N, but it's pronounced Doron. It's French. My in-laws chose not to pronounce it the correct French way, so I'm, you know, stuck with Doron. All right. So also, if you're on Instagram, I am on Instagram. My name on Instagram is CMD, as in cat, mother, dog, CMD586. And I do have a few other things I share on Instagram, but it's almost entirely cross-stitch. So, all right. So before we get to the me stuff, let's talk about FlossTube. FlossTube. One thing I want to discuss today was apologies. I am going to endeavor to not apologize on my videos, and I'm definitely not the first person who has talked about this. Most recently, I was watching McKenna, McKenna, last night, and she mentioned how, how she doesn't like people apologizing. I won't reiterate what she said, but, I've thought for the last couple of years that I've watched FlossTube, I've thought that people should not be apologizing for the content or the sound, the lighting, the little things they say in their videos. Obviously we should all try to be civil and respectful and, not hurt people, with our words if we can help it. But, beyond that, we make these videos for ourselves and hopefully for like-minded people. And, at the ripe old age of almost 43, I have finally decided that not everybody needs to like me. I think of it kind of like the lowest common denominator. If everybody likes it, it can't be that good, right? So, so hopefully I don't piss most people off, but if a few people, if I'm not their cup of tea, they want to thumb me down, or they want to leave a complaining comment, or they want to just, preferably just not watch me at all, that's just fine. I'm not gonna, if I reveal something about myself that maybe you don't like very much, or I show some things you don't appreciate, or whatever, in the natural course of, just trying to share my passion with other people, then I can live with that. That's okay. If that's the end of that. I'm not going to apologize, and I really think nobody should be apologizing. And in particular, I really don't like when people apologize for their appearance. So we can't all be McKenna. So let's just accept that, and that's fine. Have y'all seen her Lady Godiva picture? So if you haven't, you should go check it out. She's not riding a horse, but Lady Godiva is the first thing I thought of when I saw that picture. All right, so oh, and the other thing I wanted to talk about with FlossTube is something much more fun and funny. Jimmy FlossTube. Jimmy FlossTube is now making his own videos. As far as I know, there's only 2. If there's a third one, I haven't seen it yet, but Jimmy FlossTube. Just go watch. Bring your sense of humor and your dirty mind, and I think we all just need to move to Georgia, right? Every last one of us just need to converge on Georgia, because all the cool people are clearly in Georgia. All right, so now on to the me stuff. First off, I wanted to, of course, issue a general thanks to everybody who watched and subscribed and commented and made me feel welcome. The way this community was, I felt if I hadn't known that, hadn't been pretty confident that I would get a warm welcome, I would never have done a FlossTube video in the first place. So I won't pretend I didn't expect it to a certain extent, but I didn't expect to have almost 1,600 views and 200 and some people subscribing to me, and I I expected a little, you know, I just didn't expect it to be quite as lovely as it was. And so thank you to everybody who you know, showed up and watched and thumbed me up, or even thumbed me down, or left a kind comment, or even a not so kind comment. You know, it was great to, you know, to put the video out there and actually, you know, get some feedback and see people watching it and liking it or even not liking it. That's fine. In particular, though, I wanted to thank a couple of people who are actually, they may not realize how large of a way, but pretty directly responsible for me doing my first video. First is my stitchy twin, Susanna Rosenkrantz, who does her own videos too. Her FlossTube channel's name, I think, is Rogues Ace, ROGUE''S, Ace. I'm pretty sure that's a Star Wars. Is that a Star Wars reference? We may be stitchy twins, but I'm not up on all this stuff. I've seen Star Wars, but you know, that's about it. You know, she's just watching her videos and you know, talking with her. I've always felt like she's one of the first people who made me really feel like maybe I should do this, you know, and it's just been kind of in the back of my mind. And then more recently, of course, my friend Carla Eldridge, and Carla with a C, her FlossTube is just her name, I think. You can find her by looking on YouTube under Carla space Eldridge, ELDRIDGE. And until very, very recently, she lived in my little town with me, and we recently met, and, you know, she had gently encouraged me to do FlossTube videos, and I, you know, I think she was like the last straw. So those two people have been, you know, go watch their videos. They're lovely people in there, and they were both very encouraging to me, and I, you know, greatly appreciate that, because so far this is a pretty decent experience. All right. Sorry, I'm looking down at my notes in case you can't tell, because this time I did make notes. Last time I didn't, but this time I made some notes because I wanted to make sure to not forget things and people. Lastly, in terms of shout outs, the only shout out I know I've had on a video, and it was truly a thrill and lovely, is Michelle Garrett, Bendy Stitchy, who I'm a huge fan of. I love her videos. I love her attitude. I love her projects. I just like her. She's great. She was kind enough to mention me. I feel like there must be one or two others who've mentioned me, because I've had a couple of like bumps that you know, where suddenly more people started watching and commenting, and I thought, well, that must be coming from somewhere. But maybe it's all her. She's hugely popular, so it could totally be all her. But if there's somebody else other than Michelle who has who you've noticed mentioned me in a video, or on Instagram, or anywhere, you know, anywhere else where they might have directed people to my FlossTube, if you wouldn't mind letting me know, I would love to go, because obviously I haven't seen that video. I would love to go check out their channel if I haven't yet, and extend a thank you to them. All right, so let's move on to stuff I got. So I didn't, I'm not doing a lot of purchasing right now, but I did, I mentioned in my previous video that I won Nell Cunningham's Little Yellow House Crafts, the Little Yellow House Crafts. She has a FlossTube. I'm sure you know already. No, she's lovely. I won her giveaway, which was a big, you know, a lovely surprise. And her giveaway was a $30 gift certificate to 123 Stitch, which I immediately spent like the day I got the gift certificate. And then she took my my home address and she mailed me something too. And you know, I really thought that what she was going to mail me was just going to be, you know, some little token, because I thought, you know, $30 to spend at 123 Stitch on whatever my little heart desires was, you know, was a big enough deal. But I was nearly in tears, and I'm not much of a crier. I was nearly in tears when I saw what she sent me, not only because it was generous, but you know, a couple of pieces that she doesn't, as far as I know, she doesn't know me very well. You know, a couple of the things that she sent in the package were just all by themselves just absolutely perfect gifts for me, for, you know, somebody she hardly knows. And it was just wonderful. So pardon the shuffle, because I need to get out the haul, basically. So first, the more boring part, what I got with her gift certificate. I got a piece of fabric that I need for a specific project. And now that I have this fabric, I realize it's perfect for another specific project as well. But I'm going to exercise some self-control, and I'm going to use it for the originally planned project. This is, the color's not bad. It's a little bluer than that. This is 32 count Belfast Zweigart 13 by 18 blue, in the color blue spruce. My favorite Zweigart color, it has unfortunately been discontinued. It's called Millennium Blue, and like, I'm gonna go hunting on eBay or something, because I didn't realize it was discontinued, and I need some more of that. So I would have got that if I could, but this will work for what I have in mind. Blue spruce. It's a, you know, a dark-ish blue that's good for a lot of things. That fabric is earmarked for a stitch along that I'm about to do with, starting on August 15th with Carla Eldridge. Shoot, I should have written this down, but if you see her videos, and you can go on Facebook and probably find it, I think the stitch along is called, it's something like Carla and Leo's Halloween something or other, and it's a few designs by Satsuma Street that they've put. You have to buy the design, but the idea is there's a few different Halloween-ish designs to stitch that are by Satsuma Street, and I'm going to be stitching the Halloween cat. I have a black cat, and I haven't yet stitched anything in honor of her, and so this is the perfect design for me. I've also never stitched a Satsuma Street design before, and I'm really looking forward to it. I think it's going to be kind of an easy, fun stitch, and right now you should be looking at a picture of Halloween cat. Hopefully this is working. Anyway, this is Halloween cat, and I hope that my fabric isn't too dark on it. I haven't pulled the flosses yet to line it up to see. If it is, I'll have to do it on something else. But that starts on August 15th. Their stitch along is on Facebook. Go ahead and let's hope that worked. Well, go ahead and check out their stitch along, because there's that, and two other Satsuma Street Halloween patterns that are part of that stitch along. So I got that. I got my fabric for that. Also, I mentioned in my previous video that I didn't have the Gentle Arts and the, yeah, I think it's all Gentle Arts. The Gentle Arts flosses required for my Let Freedom Ring Lila's Studio project. So I now have all of those. Yes, there's some classic Colorworks and some Gentle Arts. Let me see here. I'll try to get these together so you can see the difference between them. I think these are all the classic Colorworks. So, oh yeah, they're all the classic Colorworks are the same. These are 3 of Calico Kitty. I think this is what is used, aren't those lovely? Is used in the building. I may need a 4th. It may have called for 4. I can't remember. Because that building's awfully big. But I got 3 of them for now, and those are for the big main part of the thing. Then we have Endive. Is it Endive or Endive? Endive, I think. By Gast. Oh boy, endive. This is for like the viney stuff, I think. Dried thyme. Freedom. Forest. Ooh, look at that green. Forest Glade. Old covered bridge. Old covered bridge. So that means that whenever I want to, I can get that project back out and I won't have to do any more skipping around, which will be wonderful. It'll definitely increase my enthusiasm for that project. So that is how I spent, plus a few dollars of my own, that is how I spent the gift certificate that Nell sent me. I think all that cost me about $35 or something with shipping, so really not too bad. So, oops, sorry. Oops, not apologizing. So Nell sent me a handwritten letter, which I won't read because, you know, that's for me. And something that's very special to me. She sent me a fully finished ornament for my Christmas tree that she stitched. And this is another one of those things where I feel like she knows me, even though I know she really doesn't. I have a couple of Mill Hill Santas already on my tree and a couple more in my stash to stitch. I do not have this one though. And this one, you know, she backed it with some paper and dated it, and you know, says her name on it, and this is gonna be beautiful on my Christmas tree. I will be super thrilled to add this to my Christmas tree ornaments from now on. She also sent me some Dinky Dyes. Dinky Dyes are the best. Well, I mean, they're great. There's a lot of silk threads I like. I don't actually mean that they're the best, but I do very much love them. She sent me 5 different Dinky Dyes skeins, and I have no idea what. Oh, let's try something here. I have no idea what I'm going to do with these, but wow, they're just gorgeous. Dinky Dyes are gorgeous. Let's see, how's that look? Oh yeah, that looks disoriented here. 5 different Dinky Dyes, and let's see, you might be interested to know what they are in case you love any of them. You can find them yourself. I don't have any idea whether all of these are still available or not. This one is Aussie Jewels. Man, I love that. That is so gorgeous. This one, it just says gold brown. And the colors are showing up really good. This is basically what they look like. My husband did some work and worked on my lighting situation. This one is called Hey Sailor. Kind of blues and greens, a little bit of pink. Verdigris. Some of these have like a black line across the back, and I don't know if that's something that Nell did for some reason, or if that means they've been discontinued or something. This is Verdigris. That's really pretty. And finally, this is Navajo Mountain. Look at that. Yeah, all these colors, these are showing up really true to life, I think. So, you know, thanks to the filmmaker husband. Okay, what else she sent me? I'm going to save the best for last. So she did send me 2 fabrics. She sent me a good sized piece of 25 count mushroom Lagana. I don't usually use 25 count, but I'm going to use these for, you know, 1/1 projects are not bad on 25 count. So I've decided I'm going to use this on a few different small projects that are just whole stitches and very little back stitching, and you know, that I can do 1/1. And I've already started one on this project, and I'll show you on started a project on this fabric, and I will show, and that's why I'm kind of keeping it folded up. I will show that to you in a little bit in the sort of WIP portion of this video. She also sent me an 18 by 27 piece of 28 count white linen. You know, very nice. I'm actually, for a while now, I mean, you could do a lot with this, tons of stuff with this, 28 count, you know. It says white, but it's more like an antique white or almost a cream or an ecru. It's not real, it's not white. You know, you can kind of see that's pretty accurate. It's kind of an off-white. So it's not super white, which is actually great. Oh, you know what? I bet it says white linen. I bet white linen is actually the color, not the white linen. I think that's why it's not white. But I've been kind of itching to try out Farm Girl's tutorial on Rit Dye, and this might be perfect, you know, basic fabric to start with, to try out, try my hand at dyeing, since I got it for free. And you know, and even if I like totally screw it up, I can find something to stitch it on. What I think I'd really like, what I'm really wanting is, I've been needing kind of an orangey fabric, like a Halloweeny orange, and so I might try to make this orange, buy some Rit Dye and see what happens. Okay, so she also sent me a Mill Hill kit, one of the Autumn Harvest Mill Hill kits. This is called the Chicken or the Egg, and it's meant to be a magnet. So, and that's cool because I love Mill Hill kits, and I actually already did this. I mean, I did hers. She sent it to me, and I stitched it up and finished it, and I'll show it to you in a little bit, because I couldn't wait, and so I did it. And it took 2 whole days, 1 day for the cross stitches, and the second night I did the little bit of the back stitching and all of the beading and put the little treasure on. So that's done. She sent me these. These are Lizzie Kate Snippets, and she sent me, they're seasonal, spring, summer, autumn, and winter, all of them. Now these, I'm not sure if I'm going to stitch them or not. I like them, but the thing I like best about them is, is a little bit, I'm a little crazy this way. These are all stitched in, for the most part, they're stitched, I think they're all stitched in sampler threads. Like every bit of them is stitched in sampler threads. And it's not that they're not my style. I do primitive stuff, and I do like them. I don't know if I like them well enough to stitch them. But I kind of like the fact that they call for all specialty, like all gentle art sampler threads, because that's the perfect excuse. Even though these are little itty bitty things, you know, you buy the skeins and then you have them left over to put in your stash. And I kind of like the idea of just stitching up these little things and then have, you know, as the excuse to get all those threads and put them in my stash, which is a bad reason to stitch anything. If I want the threads, I can just buy the threads, right? So I think that these will be part of a future giveaway, unless I think of somebody, you know, like my mom. I don't think so, you know, unless I think of somebody who, oh, those will be a perfect gift for, or whatever. I don't think I will stitch them up, even though I'm just slightly tempted. It's really just the threads I want, which, you know, that's nonsense, right? So, okay, finally, I don't know which of these patterns I saw first when I opened up her bag to me, but I scared the dog. I was opening these up and I gasped so loud that I scared my poor beagle. she's a sensitive soul, and I startled her. She's like, oh my God, what's going on? Because I don't know which of these I saw first, but both of these patterns have been on my wish list. I've been aware of these patterns for at least 15 years. Way back when I used to stitch one thing at a time, and it took me, you know, I would get, like, I'd lose my stitchy bug, and I would stitch and stitch and stitch and stitch on something, and then I would burn out, and I would put it away, and I wouldn't take it out for another year or two, and then I'd finally finish it up, and usually give it to my mom. And I stitched big projects, like only big projects, and only one at a time. And during that time, during the time when I would be like super enthusiastic about the one big project I was working on, I would always go and I would look online, which, you know, 15 years ago, online was nowhere near what it is now. I would look for stuff, you know, for my next project. But then by the time I would finish that project, I would be done stitching, you know, for a couple of years. And so these two were patterns that I had really been eyeing way back when for literally decades, wanting. And, you know, I just never got around to getting them. They're both, Lavender and Lace, you know, they're actually Told in a Garden, but it's the woman, Marilyn Leave It in Bloom, I think is how you say her name. She's unfortunately deceased, but she did 3 sort of series. She had Lavender and Lace, which was a lot of pretty ladies, and, you know, old, like, historical ladies in pretty dresses and things like that. And she did Butternut Road, and she did Told in a Garden. And these are both, I believe, Told in a Garden patterns. And the first one is this Country Store, which I actually think would go very beautifully on, and it would even fit on this Blue Spruce Belfast, even though it's a little lighter than what's shown on here. I think it would look gorgeous on this, but I am starting Halloween Cat on this. I am exercising self-control. I will get the more Blue Spruce. What I do when I find fabric that I know is perfect, until I bought this piece of Blue Spruce, I'd never really seen it, so I didn't know whether it was, you know, I didn't know for sure what it looked like. It turned out to be darker than I thought it was going to be, which is fine. But now that I know what it looks like, next time I buy it, I'll buy as big a piece as I can afford. If I can buy a whole yard, I'll buy a whole yard. If I can't buy a whole yard because I don't want to spend the money at the time, I'll buy maybe a half a yard or something like that. I will buy, because it is more economical to buy the fabric a little bit bigger, usually. So, you know, I'll buy a big piece next time, and that would be enough to do general store. These patterns are not that big. And then the other one is Grandmother's House, and I want to stitch this for my mother. My mother has only one grandchild, my son, and my mother is a wonderful grandmother. She took to grandmothering like, you know, it was the best experience of her life, probably better than motherhood. But she's a wonderful grandmother, and I haven't stitched anything, you know, grandmothery for her. And so I've wanted to stitch this for her since my now 16-year-old son was a baby. So I'm finally doing it, and I've already started it. So that is what, those are the things that Nell sent me. And I mean, I know you'll all agree. I mean, the things I bought and the things she sent. So generous. I mean, when somebody does a giveaway, they are under no obligation to do anything in particular. I mean, I think it's absolutely wonderful when somebody does a giveaway and it's just, you know, a single pattern or something small. I would have, you know, to actually give me, you know, basically cash to spend how I wanted was, you know, what I thought was the big deal of the giveaway. But then the little something extra, well, I don't know how she put it that way, but I was just thinking of it as like a little token that was going to come in the mail, you know, and I just had no idea she was going to send me a couple of pieces of fabric, some beautiful floss, you know, some patterns, including 2 that are just absolutely, you know, like she knows me and knows what I've wanted for the last 15 to 20 years you know, which of course she doesn't, it's just wonderful. Thank you, Nell. and I'm sure you watch her YouTube, but she has a wonderful YouTube channel. The little yellow house crafts. All right, so next, I wanted to show a few of my finishes that I did not show last time, because I used to send basically everything I finished to my mother. A couple of big lavender and lace projects, and a really big mirabilia, and a couple of other things like that. My projects used to primarily I'd stitch them and I just stick them in the mail and give them to my mother for Christmas or her birthday or whatever. So I don't have that stuff. But I do have a few things that I've stitched, you know, kind of recently that I've had up on my walls, etc. So last time I talked about the Sew to Stitch ice cream ladies. This is the one I have finished in a hoop, and these are the hoops I'm going to use for all of them. They're super cheap. You can get them. You used to be able to get them at Joann. My Joann has stopped carrying them, but that's where I discovered them and discovered how perfect they were. But you can get them on 123 Stitch for just, you know, super cheap. I don't remember how much I paid for them, but, you know, not very much at all. A couple dollars each or something. And so very economical. This one is the green tea ice cream lady, and I'm going to show you I'm not going to show you the pattern. This is the real, this is the chart, the whatever, you know what I mean. This is the thing. And you can see, I told you last time that I was leaving off the banners down here on the bottom so that they would fit perfectly in these little hoops. And this is the green tea one, and I was right last time I said I had finished the blueberry one. So I finished the blueberry. It's not in a hoop yet, but it should be soon. I have the hoop. I might as well stick it in there, right? I want to finish all 5 of these, and then I want to hang them individually, but like next to each other, semi-artfully on the wall. Thought about giving these to my mother too, but I don't want to give everything to my mother now. Now that I've really, you know, gotten back into stitching, I want some things for myself too. So, Mill Hill, this is another of their autumn. I believe it's part of the same series, but it's autumn something or other. Maybe part of the autumn harvest series that the Nell, the chicken that Nell sent me that I told you I already started and finished is part of. It may not be the same series. They're both autumn. I could say it over and over again. I love Mill Hill. So this one took me significantly longer to do than this one. I think I spent, you know, maybe 3 or 4 days total on the stitching and the back stitching and the finishing. It was a little more difficult to cut out than the chicken, but they're both adorable, and they're finished with magnets. I have a couple of other, at least one other Mill Hill magnet that I did not finish as a magnet because it's Christmassy, and so it was supposed to be finished as either a magnet or a pin. Maybe a pin. I think it was a pin. But I usually finish the Christmas ones as ornaments regardless, because they hang on the Christmas tree, right? So, oh no, I died. Thought I was missing something. Speaking of Mill Hill, I told you last time that I used the Mill Hill frames. So this is one I have on my wall, and anything I do, I pretty much, it's Christmas or ever. If it's a Christmas ornament and I'm hanging it on the Christmas tree, that's one thing. It'll get put away with the Christmas stuff. And this year, hopefully, I will be showing you my my Christmas ornaments that are on my Christmas tree. But if it's anything that's other than what's going to hang on the Christmas tree, I just leave it up year round. I don't care if it's Christmas or Halloween or Easter or what have you. You know, I don't have that much stuff finished, and I'm just gonna, you know, it's all going to stay up all the time. And, you know, who cares? It's Christmas. It's fine. It can be Christmas year round, right? So this is Tree Lot. This is one of their Christmas, obviously Christmas like village ones. And it's in their 6x6 frame, which you just stick in, and it's super easy. Also in a Mill Hill frame, but not a Mill Hill project, I have, this is the Sweetheart Tree, and the Sweetheart Tree has a whole series of alphabet kits that are, I think the list price on them is about $25 for the little kits. They come with the fabric and the beads and the floss and a needle and everything you need, and they come in a little handy case. In fact, I've got another one to show you. I'll show it right now. They've got one for all the alphabets, and I got the I is for Ivy and the W is for witch, because of course, witches, Halloween, I love Halloween, right? But they happen to be on sale at a local needlework, not local to me, I don't have a local needlework store, called Acorn, I think it's called Acorns and Threads. It's in the Portland area that I happened to be down visiting my parents, and we went to Portland, and we were able to go to Acorns and Threads, and I got this and W is for witch for a good price there. You know, the list price is like $25, and I paid something like $20 each, you know, which seems like a lot for the little kids, but you know, they come with everything you need, and it's not bad. It's not a bad price. So the other one I have is the W is for witch, and this is the case. This is how they come. They come in this slick little case, little plastic case that holds everything you need, just fine and dandy. And of course I have, I keep everything of mine. I keep it all in Ziploc bags, usually in these big 2-gallon, the hefty style bags. So I have put the threads for this project to keep them straight. I've put them on a Lowron project card, which I find inexpensive and handy to use. And then it comes with the beads, and I've got them in the little baggie that came with it, I think. But this is W for witch. W is for witch. That's what they're calling it, right? W is for witch. So I have just barely got like a 2-day start on this thing, and I could finish it up in another few days. These are beautiful little kits, but they are little, you know. And it looks very similar to the other one. The border, you know, they've got a border and then similar colors, and there's always a few specialty stitches like that right there in the center is a Rhodes heart, and there's a couple more things. On this one, there is a, like these are satin stitches, and there's more Rhodes hearts. There's always a few like eyelets and things like that going on in these, and with some beads too. They're lovely, you know, delicate little things. And again, this is one of those things where I tell myself that I'm going to do the whole alphabet, and I probably won't, but you know, maybe. I always do the upside down thing. So you can barely see it, but it shows up better in person. There's the start of the witch in the center there, and it's going to have some W's. And anyway, it would take me just a couple of days to finish up this thing, and I should probably just do it. But there's my W is for witch, yet another Halloween project. I have not worked on this recently. I started it for some little stitch-along event that it was appropriate for, and I haven't touched it since. I find that stitch-alongs are kind of not my thing, evidently. At least not lately. Lately, I've been wanting to just stitch what I want and not plan ahead. And I've actually been putting in lengthier periods of time on each of my projects, as opposed to just, you know, flitting around from project to project. I have a lot of projects, but, you know, I don't get... lately I'm more monogamous. I start on something and I want to spend several days on it before I move on to something else usually. All right. Hands-On Design. This is one of their year in chalk pieces. I'm not going to show you the back of this. I just put this on a, I just tacked it to a canvas, like a artist's canvas thing. Stretch the fabric over it. It's got like dust and fur on it because it's been Velcroed up to my wall. I'm probably not going to do all of her year in chalks. One of the things I appreciate about them is they don't list the month on them, so you don't, you know, it's okay if they had the month on them. I'd feel like I had to do all of them, but in this case, I'm just going to do the ones I really like the best. And Red, White, and Barbecue, which I'm sure is supposed to be July, is one of my favorites. I am doing them in the called for thread, so the chalk and the that might be carnation, I can't remember, but I'm using the Gast or whatever, is it Gast or Weeks, whatever, the called for threads. I'm not doing these in DMC, just because that's kind of the way I am, even though they're, you know, little projects, and that chalk color could absolutely be just fine in something else. You know, it gives me a little bit of extra pleasure to stitch in the fancy flosses. So that's that one. The other one I did in that series is Let Them Eat Candy. Obviously, you know, it's Halloween. If I was going to do one of these, this was going to be it. I really like this. This is just slapped into one of those photo frames that Joann sell. They were on sale, or I had a coupon or something, so I bought a couple of these. And I was being lazy. How can I get this on the wall really fast? So it's obviously not, you know, remotely professionally anything. I have more of these canvases to use, but you know, I just wanted it on the wall ASAP. And these are super easy for that. It's just 2 pieces of glass, and you just cram your fabric in between the 2 pieces of glass. As long as you don't have beads or anything like that, then it works. You're good to go. And the last thing I'm going to show you that's been on my wall is, this is an Ursula It's Ursula Michaels, right? The one who does all the different, you know, let's love this and let's do that, the lettering ones. These are so fun. I got this out of a book that I bought at Joann's that has like 4 of her different designs, and I don't think I will do any of the others in the book, so at some point I may give that book away as well. But these are so fun, and I switched it up a little bit. It called for red and blue, a red floss and a blue floss, and to make things just a little more interesting for myself and while I was stitching, I bought a DMC variegated red and a DMC variegated blue. And that's how I did it, just to make it a little more fun for me while I was stitching it. This took me, I don't remember how long it took, but it was fast. Just a few days, I think, to stitch it up. These, you know, they look so cool, and they really don't take that much work at all. As long as you don't mind backstitching, you know, these are great little projects. And she's got a ton of them I like. That particular book I have, the other 3 I don't think I'll do, but she does have quite a few that I like a lot. And I just, you know, there's just something about stitching words. It's fast and it's fun. So, oh, I buried my notes. I need to make sure I'm not forgetting. Oh, here it is. I need to make sure I'm not forgetting stuff. So, okay. So, I worked on 4 things this week. I want to talk about WIPs. I worked on 4 things this week. One is a start and a finish. That was the little chicken, the chicken or the egg that's already finished. Let's start with the thing I hate. I love this design. I hate the project. I hate doing it, which is all my own fault because it's terrible fabric. And so that's, you know, that's my fault. So, let me show you. I actually have the physical magazine in my hand here to show you exactly. I should have marked this, shouldn't I? Okay, just gonna show the picture of, it is by, I believe it's Angela Pullen. I'm going to, yes, going to confirm that. It's Angela Pullen, who also happens to be the designer of that Edgar Allan Poe sampler that I showed, last, with my first video. I don't think that's in this, I don't believe it's in this issue. I think that was in a different Halloween issue, Just Cross Stitch. But this is what the finished design will look like. I love this. I have a real thing for pumpkins, as I've mentioned before. Particularly white pumpkins, I think are really charming, and this is reminiscent of like those old like they used to put out like Halloween postcards and they still put out Halloween greeting cards and stuff, but on eBay and stuff you can find like vintage Halloween postcards and things that are really lovely, and they have this kind of look. I don't own anything. I should go. As much as I love Halloween and as much as I love kind of old-fashioned cutesy Halloween, I should probably go looking and get myself some, you know, postcards to hang on my wall. Some antique Halloween postcards to hang on my wall. So that is what it's going to look like finished. I've been at this thing for, well, I bought this magazine. This is Halloween 2015, and I think I started it around the time I bought it. So I've had it for quite some time. I could look on Instagram to see exactly when I started it, but I've had it for quite some time. I've had it for, ignore me. So now you're going to be looking at a picture of where it was before I worked on it these last 2 weeks. You've never seen it before, but for reference, this is where it was before I started working on it these last 2 weeks. And here is where it is now. So if that picture thingy worked, what you will notice is I got that whole cat in. I have to force myself to work on this project. It's a beautiful pattern. I love the colors. I like the way it looks on this fabric. I absolutely hate this fabric. It actually causes me physical pain to work on this fabric. This is natural linen by MCG Textiles, and it looks very nice, but it is thick and stiff, and pushing the needle through this fabric takes a lot of extra effort. And I find I stitch for 4 or 5 hours at a stretch usually. And after 2 or 3 days in a row of working on this project, I hurt. Like my back hurts and my elbow hurts, and it's kind of ridiculous. And my finger hurts from pushing the needle through the fabric with such force. So I will never stitch on this again, even though it's very attractive and just about perfect in terms of look for this project. It's not worth it. And if I knew it was good for myself, I would just start it over, because I could have had it done, you know, a year ago if I was more enthusiastic about it. But I'm not going to start over. I'm going to finish it. Darn it. I'll just take it out when I feel like I need to, you know, punish myself for something. Kidding. Okay. Another new start. This is what I started on the 25 count mushroom Lagana that Nell so kindly sent to me, that at first I wasn't sure what to do with. I like mushroom as like a non-hand dyed, you know, kind of non-specific neutral that works with darks and lights, and you know, it's really good for a lot of things. But 25 count is a little bit too big for my taste for the usual over 2, but it's really a nice count if you're going to do something over 1. So I wanted to, you know, I wanted to start something on it. So I realized that I had, from my friend Susanna Rosenkrantz, who I mentioned earlier, I had, you know, she and we like all the same stitching things. I'm I'm not sure how much we have in common beyond that, but man, if she likes to stitch something, chances are really good that I'm gonna already have it on my wish list or want to stitch it as well. So, we've sold each other. I've sold her a couple of things. She's sold me something. Anyway, recently I bought this from her. It's Stony Creek's Halloween is in the Air, Beware. And did I bring the pattern? It's a new start, so I won't bother to show you what it looked like before because it was unstarted before. Excuse me. Okay. Sorry. Nope, not apologizing. No apologies. Live with the crinkle. Halloween is in the air, beware. And a while back, this was a free pattern on Stony Creek. You just had to pay for the shipping, but of course, I didn't purchase it way back when, and it's no longer free. So I was happy to trade a few dollars to my friend Susanna, who has also given a few dollars to me for my patterns, to get this. And I don't have any orange fabric, and I wasn't willing to buy any orange fabric. And I thought that mushroom 25 count would look great with this. And I'm doing it over 1. And it's going very quickly. 1/1. First off, when 1/1 is charted as 1/1, for whatever reason, it's way easier to actually do. When you have to look at the 1 stitch and divide it into 4, I struggle with that a lot more. I make a lot more mistakes. So when it's charted, when you're just stitching it as charted, not like you're converting the skin for a Mira or Nor Corbett or whatever, where you actually have to convert each stitch into 4 and make your brain figure that out. That's more difficult for me. But when you're just stitching it smaller, it's not so hard. And also using 25 count, it's really not that difficult. And it's all 1 color. And I'm loving the way this is turning out. It's going to be much smaller, lots smaller than the original intended project. But I think it's turning out great. And I have a cone of 310, of DMC 310, and that my husband bought me for Christmas at my request last Christmas. And there's something for me that's weirdly satisfying about using that cone. I can't actually see it going down. But I'm just kind of excited about using that cone. Oh, that's silly. I'm probably the only one who thinks that way. But, okay. And then, my last project is I started that the Told in the Garden grandmother's house, project, because it's all DMC, and I didn't have fabric, but, I went to Joann's and I got a 28 count mushroom even weave. I believe it's MCG, but some of MCG's stuff is crap and some of it's not crap. And their mushroom, I don't have any problems with their mushroom. I don't think it turns out rectangular stitches. I think it's pretty even. Maybe that's just because I haven't stitched it on something where it's been clear to me that this is a square and it actually looks like a rectangle. But regardless, I think that for a very inexpensive fabric, their 28 count mushroom, I don't know what they call it. I think it's just even weave. I don't think it's linen. Is great, and it's the perfect color for grandmother's house. And I got a significant start on it. There is where I am. And I'm loving this. This is beautiful colors and it's easy to stitch on. And I did get a really good start on it. So I don't think that's going to take me that long to do. Depending on my enthusiasm level, of course. Because I work on something for a long time and I think, oh, I'm going great guns on this and I'm going to finish it. And then suddenly I'm like, nope, done. Got to switch to something else. Okay, next. Oh, I thought I would show you my Ort stitch is what I'm calling this. I got this idea from Katie Agruso, the Stash Queen. She is doing something very similar. Yeah. But she's stitching on a lighter color fabric, and she's stitching in long rows. Basically, every day that I take out a thread to use, and for the most part beads, etc., as long as it's not a treasure or something that's kind of precious, but regular beads like millhill beads and stuff. If I start using a particular color in a particular pattern on a particular day, I will put in a stitch of that on here. And I'm doing it in 25 by 25 blocks. So 5 by 5 blocks. So 25 blocks of 25 stitches instead of long straight lines like she's doing it, because I'm hoping to see, like, I can look at this and I can see, oh, I can see, you know, a project there where I worked. If I worked on several days on a particular project, I can kind of see. Whereas I think in long straight lines, I wouldn't see. You know, it doesn't matter. It was her idea, and I thought it was amazing. And this is what I have for 2017. Pretty awesome. There are, let's see how well you can see it. Not sure how well you can see it. There are, I am including any specialty fibers or beads except for treasures and, you know, like kit flosses and stuff like that. In some spots, like down here, I don't know if you can see it, but I can. Like, I can see where I use like the wool threads from my Riolas kit, and they're a little crowded and fluffy and they look different, but I don't care, you know. This is just for fun. It's kind of like a functional Ort jar that shows what I've been doing the last several months, and I love looking at it. And it makes me, this makes me more eager and less bothered, less annoyed by projects where you have to switch out the colors that have a lot of color switches. I'm not sure what I'm going to do when I get to the end of 2017. I haven't decided if I'm just going to like make a little pillow for 2017, or if I'm going to just keep going, or if I might keep going, but I might like outline it or separate it somehow and then like put 2017 in the center and maybe some metallic or something that stands out. And then go on to the next year and put several years on the fabric. I have not decided. I have several months still to decide. I just don't know. It looks great. It looks great though. I love it. You know, I could just put this little thing on my wall right now and be happy with it. That would be great. Okay. A couple of things I wanted to, one thing I have to have. I have never stitched a Joan Elliott. And somebody hand-dyed diva, she talked about this Joan Elliott piece, and I'm going to show you a picture of it now. Look how gorgeous that is. I have not, I've never stitched a Joan Elliott before, and it's not because I don't think that her patterns are wonderful. It's just there's so many beautiful ladies and beautiful dresses out there, and honestly, it's just hard to decide which ones to do. And so I've just been kind of waiting for one to scream at me. And there have been several I've contemplated, but that one, the Hand-Dyed Divas showed a picture of it, and I was like, that's the one. That's my Joan Elliott. That's the first Joan Elliott I'm going to do. And so yeah, I'm doing that post haste. As soon as I can get around to buying it, I'm gonna get that. The other thing I wanted to show, I'm not gonna do it, but I was really impressed by it. I grew up at the beach. I grew up in San Diego, beachy community, but beach decor stuff is not really my thing. But I've been watching Kathy Haberman of Hands On Design. I showed you a couple of her things that I've finished here, and she has quite a few projects that I want to do. But in her FlossTube, I think it was FlossTube number 4, the one she just did. And if you're interested in this, hurry up, because she talked about a it's a kit that is available exclusively and limited edition from DownSunshineLane.com, who I've heard of but I've never purchased from. But it's a limited edition kit. It's $95, which sounds like a lot, but you get a lot of stuff with this kit. And it's all beach. It comes with enough stuff to make several beach themed, to make not only stitch, but also to finish several beach themed projects. And it looks like a great quality kit. And I think it's something that a lot of people will be into. So I will insert a picture of that right here. Maybe maybe I can't insert a picture of that. Can I insert a picture of that? I think I can insert a picture of that. If I'm going to insert a picture of the John Elliott picture, I'm guessing I can insert a picture of that. Nobody's going to mind, right? But go to DownSunshineLane.com and purchase like immediately. Because this morning it was still listed on there as available, but I think that there's been a lot of interest and it sounds like they are almost sold out. So if that's something you're into, go check it out because it looks like a great kit. And meanwhile, watch Kathy Haberman's videos because she's really personable and I love her designs and she puts out an interesting video and I very much enjoyed all of her videos so far. So I think that's all I have to say today. I felt like there was something else, but I guess there's not. Thank you again for watching. We're at just an hour now. I kind of want to get these videos down to half an hour, but evidently I'm going to struggle with that. So, you know, I thought, gosh, after 2 weeks, I might not even have enough to say, but clearly that's not the case. So anyway, thanks for visiting with me, and if you have any questions about anything, please go ahead and post a comment. I'm trying to pay attention to comments, and I will do my best to respond and answer any of your questions. So have a good day. Bye-bye.